evening, ladies and gentlemen of our worldwide viewing audience. We are in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada this evening for tonight's edition of RWL Rage. Good evening to you. My name's Don Hickson, and joining me as usual will be Christy Ogilvie and booking agent Myra Schimmelman. Ladies and gentlemen, as we draw closer and closer to the end of the Sweet Revenge Summer Tour, things have really gotten really crazy. We've seen some wild matches both on Snarl and Rage, and tonight is going to be no exception.
Don, Christy, I know every week I tell you the matches are going to be exciting, there's going to be surprises. This week, there are some serious surprises.
Yeah, Myron, I've been hearing some outlandish stuff about tonight's card, and I can't wait to see what develops.
Well then, there's no better time than the present to get things started, and we open up tonight with a Legends Division matchup involving the Honky Tonk Man, backed by the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, as he gets set to face the Samoan bulldozer, Umaga.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our WL Rage. Our first match, scheduled for one fall with a 15-minute time limit. Coming down the aisle, along with the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, from Memphis, Tennessee, weighing in at 243 pounds. Here is the Honky Tonk Man.
Jimmy Hart and his bullhorn. And oi, that laughter goes right through your head. Oh, he may be laughing out the other side of his face by the end of this one.
Facing the unpredictable and extremely powerful Umaga, who outweighs HTM by almost 100 pounds, the Honky Tonk Man with a stacked challenge against him tonight. Don't be cruel indeed.
But he's a former long-reigning Intercontinental Champion in WWE. Who can say?
His opponent from the Isle of Samoa, weighing 350 pounds, the Samoan bulldozer, Umaga.
Umaga apparently being let off the leash by Captain Luis Albano, conspicuous by his absence at ringside for this match. And I don't know that Umaga, unchecked by Lou Albano, is going to be an easy target for the Honky Tonk Man.
I know it's a little weird to be doing it, y'all, but I've never been too hot on the Samoan bulldozer. So there's the tiniest little part of me, kinda hoping the Honky Tonk Man can pull off an upset win over Umaga. Yeah, I know the odds are long, but a girl can hope. Know what I mean?
I understand, Christy. I totally understand.
Indeed, the Honky Tonk Man would be recognized as a major victor if he was able to take down the Samoan bulldozer.
She's right, it's a tall order.
A most unusual start to this evening's RWL Rage. The Honky Tonk Man all set to lock it up against the Samoan bulldozer. Referee Charles Lucera sounds the bell. They lock up collar and elbow. The Samoan bulldozer, with the Honky Tonk Man up over his shoulders in a fireman's carry, hangs him up off the top rope. Umaga delivers a kick to the leg of HTM. Jimmy Hart absolutely going berserk at ringside, as he always does, perhaps hoping to provide some manner of distraction to the Samoan bulldozer. A kick to the leg from Umaga to the Honky Tonk Man, a series of chops, an elbow to the face. Umaga whips HTM over the top rope to the outside, follows him on out himself as the referee begins the count. Umaga get by the throat, has the Honky Tonk Man by the throat, has him up. Whoa, a choke slam, almost head first into the ring post. The Samoan bulldozer, without Captain Lou Albano as guidance, could be potentially hazardous. A headbutt to the lower abdomen, and I do mean lower. Umaga rounds up HTM again, hurls him towards the ring steps, does not quite find the mark as the referee continues to count HTM. The Samoan bulldozer, meanwhile, back in the ring. Jimmy Hart absolutely flipping. The referee trying to keep Umaga back. A dangerous proposition, to be sure, as Honky Tonk Man makes his... Oh, look at this. Jimmy Hart literally walking into the ring. He has no authorization to do that. And referee Charles Lucera taking the megaphone away from the mouth of the South. I can't imagine a more ironic punishment for Jimmy Hart. Umaga with a chop to the midsection. Oh, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. A slugfest between HTM and Umaga. I'm sorry, I don't think Honky Tonk Man can win this one. Umaga countered again by Honky Tonk Man. Umaga counters him. A kick to the midsection and a clubbing overhand right from the Honky Tonk Man brings Umaga down to one knee. Umaga whipped to the far right corner. Here's an elbow from the Honky Tonk Man. And now a series of short staccato kicks to the lower abdomen of Umaga. Honky Tonk Man covers. 1, 2. And how did Jimmy Hart get that megaphone back? I'll never understand the mouth of the South, but he certainly is one of the greatest managers of all time. Honky Tonk Man all the way up on the top. Umaga takes him right back down again, rolls him out center ring, rolls him over and covers. 1, but only a 1, as Jimmy Hart continues to rant and rave at ringside. Umaga strangling the Honky Tonk Man. Umaga rebounds off the ropes. Big time headbutt. And the Honky Tonk Man just got his hair mussed. There's a driving knee into the back from Umaga. Honky Tonk Man rolling out to higher ground. Jimmy Hart coming back in again. He must be out of his mind. Umaga takes down the Honky Tonk Man. Referee Charles Lucera having his problems with the mouth of the South as Umaga batters the head of the Honky Tonk Man on the outside floor. Jimmy Hart trying to remain as nonchalant as possible, which is an impossibility. Umaga rounds up the Honky Tonk Man, gets a hold of him, escorts him back inside the ring, and here comes the Samoan Bulldozer Honky Tonk Man. Slow to get up. Umaga has him up, front cradle, over the shoulder and hung up on the top rope, and down he goes again. The Samoan Bulldozer delivers another kick to the leg of the Honky Tonk Man. Honky shoves him back. HTM trying to battle back here. Look at this. The Honky Tonk Man, no care whatsoever. And look at this. He just hoisted himself on his own petard, cracking his head against the exposed steel, courtesy of Umaga. The Samoan Bulldozer slams the face of the Honky Tonk Man into the... Oh, man. Well, this just went south for the Honky Tonk Man. A diving headbutt from the Samoan Bulldozer. Jimmy Hart looking extremely concerned. Honky Tonk Man definitely having a bit of a headache here. Another headbutt from Umaga. And the head of the Honky Tonk Man being absolutely battered by the Samoan Bulldozer. Umaga shoves him back, grapples him, and again blatantly strangling the Honky Tonk Man. Umaga, without the guidance of Captain Lou Albano, has demonstrated himself to be quite dangerous, perhaps a bit too dangerous for the taste of the Honky Tonk Man. Woohoo! A shot on the outside apron puts Honky Tonk Man back on the outside floor as the referee fixes that turnbuckle. A little bit too late for the Honky Tonk Man, who is laid out. Finally starting to come into his own here as Umaga paces like a caged animal. He rolls out to the outside of the ring, shoves back the Honky Tonk Man. Honky counters with a series of shots. He's not out of this yet. Umaga has him up, and oh, what a slam on the outside floor for the Honky Tonk Man. HTM rolled towards the barricades, and Umaga, that means a monster, like Godzilla or something like that. The Honky Tonk Man, slow to get back to his feet, gets a hold of Umaga, has him by the scruff of the neck, rolls him back inside the ring. Hopefully, Honky Tonk Man trying to restore some order here, but no dice. There's another spinning slam from the Samoan Bulldozer as Honky Tonk Man loosens another turnbuckle. Are you kidding me? Look at this. Umaga brings him in, draped over the top rope, clubbing overhand right, and down he goes. Umaga covers and hooks the leg. 1, 2. Only a 2 count. The Honky Tonk Man still in this despite taking quite a bit of a pounding already at the hands of Umaga. Umaga's got him up again. Honky Tonk Man switches it around, turns it into a DDT, turning the tables on the Samoan Bulldozer. Both men on the outside now. Honky Tonk Man opens up with a series of shots, goes behind, rear waist lock, a hard shot to the back of the Samoan Bulldozer. A rake of the back from the Honky Tonk Man. HTM pitches Umaga into the barricades. Gathers him back up again. Umaga catches an elbow to the shoulder. HTM rolls him back inside the ring again. And the Honky Tonk Man, clearly aware he is losing ground here, otherwise he would not resort to loosening those turnbuckles. A clubbing overhand right to Umaga, slammed down to the canvas by the Honky Tonk Man, who covers. 1, 2, another near fall, but not near enough, as Umaga still in the game. Diving fist drop from the Honky Tonk Man. An elbow to the top of the head of Umaga. Honky Tonk Man rallying the fans here in Saskatoon for a little bit of support, and he's going to need all the help he can get. A stomp to the leg of Umaga. The Honky Tonk Man rounds up the Samoan Bulldozer. A chop, a kick, and a clothesline, taking Umaga down. Here's another cover. 1, and only a 1 this time. Honky Tonk Man in imminent danger of making Umaga very airy. Look at this. Little swing ding right there. Here's another cover and a hook of the leg, center ring. 1, 2. Again, another near fall. What's it going to take to put down the Samoan Bulldozer? The Honky Tonk Man up on the middle rope. Here we go. Oh, the fist drop doesn't find the mark as Umaga nails him with a right. Gets a hold of him by the throat. Uh-oh, here we go. The Samoan spike. And down goes the Honky Tonk Man. Here's a cover and a hook of the leg. 1, 2, 3, and that is it. Umaga defeating HTM by pinfall.
The time was 8 minutes and 42 seconds. Your winner, Umaga.
Well, that sucks. I was really starting to pull for Honky Tonk Man. To make it even worse, he actually did come very close to taking down Umaga. But the Samoan Bulldozer, with just unstoppable stamina, was damn near impossible to keep down for a 3 count. Not surprised by this outcome, but I am. Just a little let down HTM couldn't get the job done.
I would imagine the Honky Tonk Man and Jimmy Hart. Share your sentiments, Christy. That is our opening contest this evening. A whole lot more rage coming up right after the break. Well, fans, we promised you an unusual card this evening, and we intend to deliver on that up next. Vic LaRue of the Canadian Cartel in singles competition against one half of the Snarl Tag Team Champions, the Psychedelics, the Freak.
I see the way you look at me, Christy. I'll explain in a minute.
The next match, ladies and gentlemen, scheduled for 1 fall with a 15-minute time limit, coming down the aisle along with his tag team partner Golden L. Barnett, and representing the Canadian Cartel from Quebec City, Canada, weighing 237 pounds, here is Vic LaRue.
Okay, Myron, so how did we get here? I mean, this doesn't exactly happen every day, does it?
It most certainly doesn't, but sometimes a booking agent has to act as a mediator. There was an argument backstage between Vic LaRue and the Freak, and well, they brought it to me, and I said, well, let's get it in the ring here. We ain't got all day, we're not doing this for our health.
His opponent joined at ringside by Sylvia Strong from Paducah, Kentucky, weighing 249 pounds. He's one half of the Snarl Tag Team Champions, the Freak.
Well, Myron, Vic LaRue brought along Golden L. Barnett, so where the hell's Wild Thing Wayne Tate?
To explain that, the Freak wanted to do this absolutely by himself. Sylvia Strong at ringside was fine. He didn't want Wild Thing there. His reasons are his own. I think it's a bravado thing. I don't know.
The Canadian Cartel and the Psychedelics clashed as tag teams last month, with the Freak and Wild Thing picking up the win. Maybe Vic LaRue is still salty about it. You think maybe this is where the beef stems from?
I'd almost bet on it.
And so these two men, usually inseparable from their tag team partners, set to go in this one-on-one matchup, mediated by you, Myron. Most interesting to be sure. Referee Willie Johnson sounds the bell. The men come to the ring. They lock it up, collar and elbow. The Freak, with Vic LaRue over his shoulder, walks into the corner, drops his head into the turnbuckle. LaRue gathered up a hard right from the Freak, gets a hold of the trunks, has an up vertical suplex for Vic LaRue. Whoa! Look at this. Just sat on him. Ouch. Vic LaRue, gathered up once more by the Freak, gets a hold of him, belly-to-belly suplex, dead center ring. Golden Al Barnett looking a little bit concerned for his tag team partner. In this most unusual matchup, another vertical suplex from the Freak, who takes himself out onto the apron all the way up to the top turnbuckle, catches him with a splash, but almost didn't make it. Turns him over, covers and hooks the leg. 1, 2. A near fall on a narrow crossbody up the top rope for the Freak. The Freak rounds up LaRue by the throat, hurls him towards Golden Al Barnett, and he's talking about bring it on. He follows Vic LaRue on out. LaRue counters with a kick to the leg as Willie Johnson starts to count. There's a running kick from the Freak to Vic LaRue. LaRue gets the leg drop on his elbow as the Freak starts to pull away here with the momentum. Rounds up Vic LaRue, drives him into the ring steps. Golden Al Barnett giving these two a wide berth. They lock up again. And here we go. The Freak rolls Vic LaRue back inside the ring. Here he comes right after him. Gathers him back up. They lock up, collar and elbow. The Freak puts him up against the ropes and starts yanking for dear life against those hard ropes. Vic LaRue countering with elbows to the gut of the Freak. A right, another, a left, and a spinning clothesline from Vic LaRue and a cover. 1. Well, this one's gotten intense from the word go. Vic LaRue rounds up the Freak. And here's an arm snap. And right into an armbar. Vic LaRue, of course, as part of the Canadian cartel, a seasoned and experienced wrestler. LaRue rounds up the Freak. Nice drop toe hold and into a leg lock. A possible submission as Willie Johnson checks it out, but the Freak turns himself over, nails LaRue with a couple of hard rights, and he's free again. The Freak countered by Vic LaRue. Another right, another, a chop across the chest. He's got him up, and a backbreaker. The knee going right across the lower back of the Freak. Vic LaRue with a home field advantage here in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. As he makes his way to the top turnbuckle, the Freak's laid out, misses the leg drop. The Freak rolling out of the way in the last possible moment. The Freak opens up with a couple of shots, but the Freak taken quickly down by Vic LaRue. LaRue with a chop across the chest, gets a hold of him, double arm suplex from Vic LaRue as the Freak rolls out to the floor. LaRue all the way up on the top. Look at this right here, a leg drop from 10 feet up right across the chest of the Freak. It is most unusual seeing the Freak and not seeing Wild Thing Wayne take anywhere around. The Freak countered by Vic LaRue into an inverted DDT on the outside as Willie Johnson continues the count. Vic LaRue rallying the Saskatchewan fans as he rounds up the Freak one more time, gets a firm hold on him, and rolls him back inside the ring. Vic LaRue, again, with a lot of showboating here. Well, it's a home field advantage for sure. Misses with the clubbing right. The Freak takes him down with a clothesline. Swings and misses, does LaRue, and over into a back body drop, courtesy of the Freak. The Freak rounds him up into a spine buster. We've seen him do that a lot of times. Here's a cover. 1, 2. Only a near fall here, a 2 count. Vic LaRue getting that left shoulder up. Sylvia Strong rallying her man here. He charges, gets quickly taken down. And what are we seeing here? Look at this. A little bit of a leg lock, a little bit of a surfboard stretch, and a stomp to the back of the head. planting the Freak's face right into the canvas. Sylvia Strong, perhaps objecting to Vic LaRue's mishandling of the merchandise. The Freak is laid out face down on the canvas, slowly making his way back to a standing position here. A right, a chop, another right, and a spinning back fist puts LaRue in the corner. There's a hard right from the Freak, and there's another one. The Freak gets a hold of LaRue, turns him around in the corner, double axe handle across the back. There's a hard right, and there's another one. The Freak, all aggression, of course. Here's a head butt right into the turnbuckle. And the Freak escorting Vic LaRue out of the corner with a big-time alley-oop. The Freak, with all the momentum on his side at the present time, takes himself all the way up to the top turnbuckle. Vic LaRue slowly making his way back to his feet. The Freak takes the leap of faith, but no, just narrowly missing Vic LaRue by an inch. LaRue was another arm breaker, and back into the arm bar again, trying to wear out the arm of the Freak as Sylvia Strong looks on. Most unusual, this single matchup between two members of the Canadian Cartel and the Psychedelics in single action. Something we certainly don't see every day. Vic LaRue with a crossface on the Freak. Willie Johnson monitoring the situation, but the Freak loosens the hands, nails him with a right, and gets himself out of the danger zone. The Freak charges, whoa! A belly buck that took Vic LaRue down, and that's power. The Freak gets a hold of Vic LaRue, escorts him to the far right corner, smashes his head into the turnbuckle, brings him out, rounds him up into a scoop slam. The Freak moves back in on Vic LaRue, locks him up, whips him to the far left corner this time, and the Freak repeats the process, another scoop slam, as he makes his way up to the middle rope. Whoa! Vic LaRue snapped himself up quick. Here we go. Oh, there it is, the diving clothesline off the middle rope, the Freak's signature. Here's a cover. 1, 2. But no, Vic LaRue powering out, getting his left shoulder up. The Freak locks up Vic LaRue. Hard whip to the ropes, misses with the spear. Vic LaRue puts on the brakes, charges, and there's a jumping elbow that takes the Freak down to the mat. The Freak struggling to a standing position on the outside apron. A hard right from Vic LaRue, followed up with another. The Freak counters with a forearm, gets himself back inside the ring. Vic LaRue opens up with a series of shots and a kick that drops the Freak to the mat again. LaRue all the way up on the top. Here we go, another leg drop right across the chest of the Freak. What a ride this one's been so far. Here's another cover. 1, 2. But the Freak powering out again. What a match we've got going here. They're more exciting in singles than they are in tags. Wow. There's another arm breaker from Vic LaRue. A clubbing right to the back of the head of the Freak. A drop toe hold and back into that leg lock submission. But the rope's right there. Willie Johnson ordering the break. Vic LaRue rallying here as he starts to take control of this matchup. The Freak whipped out onto the apron. There's a shoulder tackle. And out to the floor goes the Freak. Referee Willie Johnson starts the count. The Freak stays on the outside, catches a right and another and a third from Vic LaRue. And there's a gut-wrench suplex from Vic LaRue. LaRue drives a knee into the head of the Freak. And for the first time in this match, the Freak's starting to look like he's in a little bit of trouble. Vic LaRue starting to pull away here as he rounds the Freak up. Golden Al Barnett watching very closely his tag team partner. The Freak resisting being brought back inside the ring. He is fighting hard. Vic LaRue can't seem to keep control of him. And there we go. A set of elbows to the midsection for Vic LaRue. The Freak has him by the scruff of the neck, rolls him back inside the ring. And here he comes himself. Charges, misses with that low drop kick. The Freak gets a hold of LaRue, whips into the ropes, misses the spear again. Charges, and he nailed it that time. Vic LaRue is down. Here's a cover and a hook of the leg again. 1, 2. 3, a fast, furious, and frenetic matchup with the Freak picking up the win.
Here's the time. 9 minutes and 42 seconds. Your winner, the Freak.
It was an extremely rare thing to see either one of these two men engaged in single competition when all we've ever seen from them is tag team action, but the Freak proving that he is definitely a single competitor, and he was before he met Wild Thing Wayne Take, and he certainly hasn't forgotten the way how. Here we go, there's that running spear that put an end to this thing for Vic LaRue, and we'll be right back with more RWL Rage right after this. Well, last week, Miss Morse X and Scarlett Bordeaux got into a post-match brawl after a match between Karrion Kross and Mad Dog Mark McKay. This week, a mixed gender tag featuring all four principals: Mad Dog McKay, Miss Morse X, Scarlett Bordeaux, and Karrion Kross.
The next match, fans, a mixed gender tag match, scheduled for one fall with a 20-minute time limit. Making their way to the ring, from Ithaca, New York, weighing 205 pounds, Mad Dog Mark McKay, and from parts unknown, his partner, Miss Morse X.
Well, it was last week on a midweek edition of Championship Wrestling. Chicago Danny Awesome and Tex Lynch bore witness to Mad Dog Mark McKay picking up another win over Karrion Kross. And apparently another loss for Kross was too much to bear for Miss Scarlett Bordeaux. She went after Miss Morse X, and Miss Morse X, of course, defended herself. Which brings us to tonight, and this mixed gender tag team match with McKay and Miss Morse X joining forces against Karrion Kross and Miss Scarlett Bordeaux.
And the parallels between both couples are pretty uncanny in their deep and serious devotions to one another. The men absolutely dedicated to their ride or die ladies, and the ladies willing to do whatever it takes to help their guy to a win. And there ain't no bigger help than being 100% willing to get in the ring. Neither Morse or Scarlett afraid to get their hands dirty when they have to. To me, though, the fact that Scarlett just straight went after Morse like she did made me almost sure we would be seeing this mixed tag match sooner or later. Hell, I'm surprised we're getting it so soon. I figured it would be at the Labor Day Slamathon.
Yeah, but since that's going to be a really crowded 3-hour card, we're doing it tonight.
Their opponents from Las Vegas, Nevada, weighing 265 pounds, Karrion Kross, and his partner, Miss Scarlett Bordeaux.
As you point out, Christy, the similarities between Miss Morse X, Mad Dog Mark McKay, Karrion Kross, and Scarlett Bordeaux are pretty uncanny. But another story behind all this is that Karrion Kross hasn't picked up a single win since his arrival in RWL, and he could certainly use one tonight. And if he's got to get it by an assist from Scarlett Bordeaux, well, as Malcolm X once said, by any means necessary.
Kross hasn't picked up a win yet, and he lost to Mad Dog Mark McKay on Championship Wrestling, which leads me to believe that probably the same thing might happen tonight, but the wild card is going to be these two ladies. They may change the whole game.
Kross had better get it together, and fast, before everyone stops taking it seriously. I'm sure he's already hearing the whispers backstage about this being why WWE cut Kross loose, questioning his ability, and that's a blow to any wrestler's ego.
I would imagine so, Christy. And when you're a big star like Karrion Kross, who has been on the WWE roster for some time, anyone questioning your ability has got to hurt.
From where I sit, you know what really hurt Karrion Kross? Losing to Ari Alexandros, the new guy. I mean, it doesn't get much worse than that.
Wonder whether it will be the men or the ladies that end up deciding the outcome of this mixed tag. I really like these, and we hardly ever see them all that often.
As is so often the tradition, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be ladies first, with Miss Morse X and Scarlett Bordeaux starting off this mixed gender tag team matchup. Referee Charles Lucera sounds the bell. A kick, a right, a chop, and a go behind into a suplex with a pin. One, but only a one for Miss Morse X. A stomp to the back of Scarlett Bordeaux. Scarlett on the mat catches a kick to the leg from Miss Morse X. The mysterious Miss Morse X, still masked, no one knows her identity, and people are itching to know. Miss Morse X drives both knees into the canvas on Scarlett. Gathers her back up. Gets a hold of her. Escorting her towards the rope, Scarlett Bordeaux. Not mounting a lot of offense. Here we go. She just put her away and brought in Mad Dog Mark McKay, and Karrion Kross delivers a clothesline to McKay. Mark McKay gathered up by Karrion Kross, and it's a fly swatter for Mad Dog Mark McKay. Karrion Kross whips him to the far right corner, rounds him up. He's going to hang him up in the tree of woe. Mark McKay in some trouble here as Karrion Kross delivers a series of knees into the lower abdominal region of Mad Dog Mark McKay. McKay rounded up for a powerbomb, and oh man, Karrion Kross certainly nailed it. Kross rounds up McKay again, whips him to the corner, delivers a hard right. Mad Dog Mark McKay dragged out and turned down. Oh, look at this. Twisting the ankle at an impossible angle that Mother Nature never intended. Here's a cover. 1, 2. But Mad Dog Mark McKay finding his way out. Oh, man. Karrion Kross just going all kinds of crazy here. Whoa, rising knee. Takes McKay down. Here comes Scarlett Bordeaux on the tag, and here comes Miss Morse X. Morse runs with a running kick to Scarlett Bordeaux. A rebound off the middle ropes and a flying punch. Takes Scarlett Bordeaux down to the canvas. Bordeaux catches a right. And Karrion Kross and Mark McKay getting into it on the outside. McKay countering Karrion Kross. Miss Morse X with a series of wrist clutch kicks of Scarlett Bordeaux. And now, torquing the arm of Scarlett Bordeaux, a pair of knees into the lower back from Miss Morse X. And Karrion Kross and Mad Dog Mark McKay still duking it out on the outside over here. McKay driving Kross into the ring steps. McKay counters with a slap. Meanwhile, on the inside, Miss Morse X continues the torture on the arms of Scarlett Bordeaux, delivers another pair of knees into the lower back. McKay trying to get himself away from Karrion Kross and back to his corner where he belongs. All the way up on the top turnbuckle is Miss Morse X as Scarlett Bordeaux stands up slowly. Here we go, flying clothesline. Scarlett Bordeaux taking quite a beating at the hands of Miss Morse X. A wrist clutch kick to the face as Miss Morse X steps out, and here comes Mad Dog Mark McKay and Karrion Kross. They lock up. Kross with a suplex and a pin. Nicely done. Whoa, not even a 1. McKay powering out. Mad Dog Mark McKay back to a standing position here. He's got him up over the shoulders, but McKay countering with a series of elbows. McKay strikes, goes behind, a rake to the back of Karrion Kross. Mark McKay not exactly known for politeness here. Whoa, what a stunner to Karrion Kross. Mad Dog Mark McKay rounds him up again. A jab, a right, a left, and a series of knees into the midsection for Karrion Kross. Followed up with a stomp. McKay rolls the elbow into the lower back of Karrion Kross. And here comes Miss Morse X again, and here comes Scarlett Bordeaux. Bordeaux with a clothesline on Miss Morse X, takes her down to the mat, follows it up with a stomp to the back of the head. Miss Morse X catches a kick. Scarlett Bordeaux gets a hold of her, whips her to the ropes. Arm drag from Scarlett Bordeaux, an elbow across the chest of Miss Morse X. Miss Morse X tentatively making her way to a standing position on the outside apron. A shoulder driven right into the midsection of Miss Morse X, and she winds up on the outside. Scarlett Bordeaux going to follow her on out. Here we go, a kick, a chop, a right, another right, and up against the barricades. Goes Miss Morse X as the referee initiates the count. Miss Morse X rolls Scarlett Bordeaux back inside the ring, rolls herself back in too. Follows it up with a stomp to the shoulder of Scarlett Bordeaux as she beats it out of town and turns it over to Mad Dog Mark McKay. Here comes Karrion Kross again. A running DDT from Mad Dog Mark McKay. A clubbing right to the back. McKay with a hard right. Just took him down. Here's a cover. Looked like could be the end. 1. Oh, well, barely just a 2. Only a 1, says referee Charles Lucera. McKay locks up Kross. Whips him to his team's corner. An elbow from Kross. Kross gets a hold of McKay. Whips him to the opposing side. Moves in slowly. Gets a hold of McKay. Gathers him up. Another beautiful suplex from Karrion Kross. A stomp across the back of Mad Dog Mark McKay. And oh, well, here we go. Karrion Kross with a series of driving knees into the leg of Mad Dog Mark McKay. And McKay starting to lose some serious ground here as Kross locks in a heel hook stretch. McKay in some serious trouble here. And he knows that he's rolling to the outside, looking for a brief bit of respite, but he ain't gonna find it here. Here we go. Oh, man, what a flying shot. 10 feet up, 10 feet down to Mad Dog Mark McKay. McKay catches a driving knee into the head from Karrion Kross. And this is the most aggressive we've seen Karrion Kross in his 3 appearances to date. Hard right hands to the head of Mad Dog Mark McKay. Kross rolls him back inside the ring. Karrion Kross doing a little bit of showboating on the outside apron. McKay rounded up by Kross. Whip to the far right corner. Here's another clothesline and an elbow and a... Oh, man! Mad Dog Mark McKay absolutely stunned here. A kick to the gut. Sets up the pump handle. He's got him up over the shoulder. And oh, man, just dropped him face first to the canvas. Karrion Kross goes for the cover. 1, 2, 3, and just like that, this mixed gender tag is all over with Karrion Kross picking up his first win.
Here's the time. 7 minutes and 31 seconds. Your winner is the team of Karrion Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux.
Well, perhaps feeling a sense of vindication, Karrion Kross picking up his first win in an RWL ring in this mixed gender tag team matchup, scoring the 1-2-3 pinfall over Mad Dog Mark McKay, something that we really don't see all that often. Ladies and gentlemen, when we return, Las Reinas Latinas, Josie Rod and Lisa Rivera, who have been on a hot streak of late, will be in action when we come back right after this. That's to close out the first hour ladies division tag team action with Ronda Rousey and Sherry Martel of Bell Unlimited joining forces once more to face Josie Rod and Lisa Rivera, Las Reinas Latinas.
This next ladies tag team match is scheduled for 1 fall with a 20-minute time limit. Coming down the aisle representing Bell Unlimited. First, from Nashville, Tennessee, sensational Sherry Martel. And from Venice Beach, California, Ronda Rousey.
This is weird as hell. Where's Too Short at for this? You know, nobody's seen Scott Bell all night. To where I'm like, is dude even in the building tonight? I mean, you just knew he would be ringside with Sherry and Ronda, ready to cheat his ass off on their behalf. You would swear he'd be down at ringside with 2 chairs, with his team facing the undefeated pair of Josie Rod and Lisa Rivera. I'm like, what the F, Myron?
No, I'm sure there's some reason that Scotty Too Snotty isn't here. But I swear I didn't do it. I had nothing to do with it. I don't know if he's dead or alive, but whatever happened, I had nothing to do with it.
And I'm Myron's alibi. We drove into work together today.
That's right, me and Don been together the whole day.
relax, Myron, honey. Nobody thinks you did anything to Scott, even if you did say you despise him. We all know you didn't mean it.
Not a lot.
Their opponents from San Juan, Puerto Rico, Josie Rod and Lisa Rivera, Las Reinas Latinas.
The very latest arrivals from the Guns family dynasty. Josie and Lisa haven't dropped a match yet, but this one's a little different, in that Sherry Martel and Ronda Rousey are not only sneaky little sellouts like their manager, but both outclass Las Reinas in the experience department. The combo of those two factors could hand Las Reinas their first loss, and given who they're facing in this match, that can't be too big of a shock. Naturally, I'm hoping they snag another win, since that would be way more exciting.
And far more important, Christy.
All right, as we get this one underway, it'll be Ronda Rousey and Josie Rod starting things off. And this ladies tag team matchup to conclude the first hour of tonight's Rage as Charles Lucera sounds the bell. Josie opens up with a series of rights and a spinning back fist that backs Ronda Rousey way up. A clothesline that takes her right down. Josie Rod with a right or left winds up the arm on Ronda Rousey. Ronda counters, locks up Josie, has her up in the fireman's carry. A spinning punch, finally taking Josie down to the canvas. Ronda Rousey, seizing the moment, drives a knee into the head of Josie Rod. A rebound off the ropes. Josie backsteps and nothing happens. Josie Rod, hard forearm, takes Ronda Rousey down center ring. Ronda Rousey gathered up. Oh, what a series of hard shots to the side of the head. That must hurt. Here comes Lisa Rivera as Ronda Rousey makes it back to an almost standing position. Lisa gouging the face of Ronda Rousey. Here we go, Lisa going for a quick cover here. Well, not even a one. Wow. Ronda Rousey back up on her feet, holding her face. Lisa with a neckbreaker. And a moment to show up to the fans. And here comes Sherry Martel with a beautiful drop kick. And a leg drop across the back of the head of Lisa Rivera. Sherry Martel, probably the most experienced of all the ladies in this matchup. As Lisa Rivera rolls to the outside, Sherry Martel makes it to the top turnbuckle. Here we go. Oh man, what a crossbody. Taking Lisa Rivera down to the floor. A stomp to the shoulder from Sherry Martel. Martel gathers her up. A kick, a chop, and another beautiful drop kick. Taking Lisa Rivera down. Sherry Martel displaying that smugness for which she's, look at this, putting all of her weight into the foot, into the midsection of Lisa Rivera. Sherry Martel rolls her back inside the ring as she makes her way to the top turnbuckle again. Lisa Rivera trying to make it to her corner. She doesn't. Here comes Josie Rod. Josie charges and drops Sherry Martel towards center ring. Sherry staying up there a little bit too long. A hard right spins her around. She counters. Locks up Josie. Josie is escorted to the far right corner, head first into the turnbuckle. And Sherry Martel does it again. Sherry Martel with a poke in the chops for Lisa Rivera. And here's, wow, just slams her down. Lisa rolls to the outside as Ronda Rousey is brought in on the tag. Lisa, seized by Ronda Rousey, whipped to the ropes. A duck under from Ronda. Lisa puts on the brakes, delivers a hard shot to the midsection. Drives a knee into the head of Ronda Rousey. And Lisa Rivera takes herself out of the equation. Here comes Josie Rod again. Hard to tell these two apart. They're very similar. There's a clothesline from Josie, taking Ronda Rousey down. Here's a cover. 1, 2. A near fall this early on. Well, that's impressive. Scott Bell nowhere in sight this evening. I wonder why. Doesn't matter really. As Josie takes her leave of the ring and tags in Lisa Rivera again, Ronda Rousey might want to consider tagging in Sherry Martel again. A hard right from Lisa. Lisa again gouging the face of Ronda Rousey. Ronda falls like a sack of spuds. As Lisa makes her way to the top turnbuckle, here we go. Oh, a driving knee. And what distance did she get on that one? Ronda Rousey is laid out. Here comes Josie Rod again. And Ronda Rousey hasn't moved. Ronda, perhaps playing possum here, shoves her away. Gets a hold of Josie. Gathers her up. A wrist clutch kick to the face as Ronda Rousey goes for a cover. 1, 2. Only a 2, says referee Charles Lucera. As Ronda Rousey turns it over to Sherry Martel. Lisa on the outside apron. Oh, shoulder. Drives her out to the floor, and Sherry Martel's not done yet. She's going after Josie Rod, too. A hard right and a drop kick. And down goes Josie as Lisa makes her way back inside the ring. They lock up. Sherry Martel with the hard Irish whip to Lisa. Ducks under. And whoa, a flying elbow takes Lisa Rivera down to the canvas. Lisa being gouged in return by Sherry Martel. As Sherry tags in Ronda Rousey again. To their credit, they do tag frequently. Lisa goes behind, delivers a shot to the back of Ronda Rousey. Hard Irish whip to the ropes. Here's a duck under from Lisa. And, oh! A flapjack face first into the canvas as Lisa goes for the cover. 1, 2. Another near fall, but not near enough. Ronda Rousey kicking out of the pin. And here comes Josie Rod again as Ronda Rousey rolls out to the floor. Josie going right after Sherry Martel. Brings her into the ring. Over the top rope, a clubbing overhand right as Ronda Rousey makes her way back inside. Gets a hold of Josie Rod. Josie is squirted to the far right corner, head first into the turnbuckle. Ronda Rousey countered with an elbow to the face. Josie with a headlock punch on Ronda Rousey. The most dangerous woman on the planet in big trouble here. Here's an abdominal stretch. But Ronda counters with a series of shots and a head scissor, dropping Josie Rod right on the top of her crown. They lock up. There's a series of kicks. And a drop kick that takes Josie down to the mat. Ronda Rousey with a series of wrist clutch kicks to Josie Rod. Josie taken down face first into the canvas as Ronda Rousey starts to go to work on the arms of Josie Rod. Jumps up, delivers a pair of knees into the lower back of Josie. Ronda Rousey moves back in. Josie gets a hold of her. Hard Irish whip. And another flapjack face first into the canvas. Here we go again. Josie going for another cover. 1, 2, 3. And well, now I don't believe it. Another win for Las Reinas Latinas.
Here's the time, 6 minutes and 52 seconds. And your winners, Las Reinas.
Well, to date, Josie Rod and Lisa Rivera remaining undefeated, picking up this win over Ronda Rousey and Sherry Martel by pinfall. And an amazingly quick matchup, too, for a ladies' tag match. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the first hour of tonight's RWO Rage. We'll return with the second half and a whole lot more action right after this brief intermission.
Hi fans, Aria Mitchell, Rage Ring announcer here. Well, all summer long, RWL has brought the excitement with this year's Sweet Revenge Summer Tour. But all good things must come to an end, and some endings are just new beginnings. Join us Monday, September 1st, as we begin the road towards December's year-ending Memphis Million with RWL Labor Day Slamathon. That's Monday, Labor Day, September 1st. We'd love to see you there.